What you are looking at is not snow. This will mess with your brain, as trust me, I've been to this location before. Although these particles are relatively cold to the touch, they are not related to water or ice. Rather, it is an expansive dune field made of the largest concentration of white sands on the planet. Largely protected within White Sands National Park, this geologic oddity has a fascinating and unusual origin. This video will discuss how these dunes came to be and mention the scope of this geologic wonder. The massive complex of white sand dunes are located in south-central New Mexico, where they are specifically about 40 miles northeast of the city of Las Cruces. The reason why these sand dunes are white relates to their mineral composition. Individual sand grains within the dunes consist of very small particles of a singular white mineral, gypsum. An abundance of this soft calcium sulfate mineral in a small particle size has led to the creation of a natural vast white dune field that covers an area of 275 square miles or 712 square kilometers. The beginnings of this geologic wonder can be traced back approximately 280 million years ago during the early Permian Period. At the time, what is now New Mexico was largely covered by a shallow sea rich in ions such as calcium and sulfur. While this sea will remain over southern New Mexico for millions of years, a general decline in sea levels occurred throughout the remainder of the Permian Period, dropping by 75 meters or 246 feet by 259 million years ago. That date marks when the shallow sea completely disappeared, leaving behind large swaths of former seabed which was now dry. As a result, eventually a thick banded gypsum rock unit formed which looked like this. Much later, around 75 million years ago, the flat subduction of the underlying Farallon tectonic plate caused compression on the surface, creating the towering Rocky Mountains and numerous regional mountain ranges. Beginning 36 million years ago, a portion of southern New Mexico began to split apart to the east and west via what is known as the Rio Grande Rift, causing the San Andres Mountains, which are now to the west, and the Sacramento Mountains, which are now to the east, to split apart from what was originally a single mountain range. The area between these two mountain ranges, known as the Tularosa Basin, dropped by several thousand feet, and in turn, the thick gypsum layers became exposed on the surface. Rivers eventually formed, and due to these and the Rio Grande River, they carried easily eroded gypsum particles downstream, which then piled up, eventually blocking the basin's outlet around 3 million years ago. Thus, all of the eroded gypsum was directed into the basin's lowest point by wind and the flow of water. A large body of water more than 40 miles wide known as Lake Otero eventually formed in this low point, containing all of the gypsum crystals. After the last glacial period ended around 12,000 years ago, this massive lake dried away, depositing 4.5 billion tons of white gypsum particles which had been pulverized by the absurdly soft nature of this mineral, making it highly prone to erosion, and the fact most of it had been transported a fairly sizable distance. By 7,000 years ago, regional winds had sufficiently pulverized enough of the gypsum crystals into small enough particles to be classified as sand, in other words between 1/16 of a millimeter and 2 millimeters wide. This sand then blew together into large piles, forming the first regional white sand dunes. Since then, the winds have continued to migrate the various dunes, creating towering features. Even today, on occasion, large flash floods sweep through the landscape, creating temporary lakes. When these lakes eventually evaporate away, they leave behind large gypsum crystals, repeating the process on a much smaller scale that led to the formation of this overall dune field. On December 20th, 2019, this beautiful landscape was upgraded from a national monument to the nation's newest national park. It provides an alien landscape which just feels surreal to wander around in. Sledding and other forms of sliding down these dunes is not only recommended but actually encouraged. And only 25 miles north of this national park is the southern edge of a massive 50-mile-long lava flow that formed during a 2 to 3 decade-long eruption of the Carrizozo volcano that occurred around 3250 BCE. As a final note, I would like to thank my new YouTube channel member, Lee Densmore, for supporting my work.